When we talk about foundation principles, it's a term coined by Paul Chek. And so my husband says, when you work on anything, you need a foundation. You think about a house, and you think about what it's made on, and it's like, if you have a poor foundation, you can't build very high. You might get 1-story house on a poor foundation, but you definitely can't put 2 or 3 or 4 stories on it. So the foundation is the most important part of the structure. So what is our foundation as being human? And so we think about thoughts. Thoughts are our foundation. So thinking, our thoughts, if they're negative, how can you do anything positive in your life if you're constantly bombarded by negativity? And so that's a whole probably episode again for you, because
yes, it is.
We think about how, they say they have 68,000 thoughts a day, 90% of which are negative. And so we're bombarded by, so if you turn on the television, there's negative thoughts. You turn on the TV, the radio, all of there's negativity.
Social media.
And then what we've been hearing all our lives, maybe from a childhood or parent or teacher said, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you can't dance right, you can't sing right. All those thoughts are still bumping around in your head and you're believing them. And so we're enlivening those thoughts. So getting those thoughts out. And so again, HLC training would be needed to go through all that. It's a 5-day course on HLC 2 where we go into the mind and we talk about how to get rid of those negative thoughts. So just being mindful of your thoughts. And when you hear a negative thought coming into your mind, disregard it. It's like we talk about Don Miguel Ruiz with his book about the 4 agreements. And he has that conversation with his son. And his son says, Dad, I feel like there's these 2 dogs in my head and they're always fighting. There's one dog that has all these, wants to do good. And he's always about helping others and doing the best thing in life. And the other dog that says, just cheat and steal to get what you need. And they're arguing all the time. And he says, what do I do, Dad, about these 2 dogs? And his dad says, which dog will win, Dad? And he says, the dog that wins is the dog you feed. So you have to feed the good thoughts and disregard the negative and just say, let that go. So thinking is critical. Okay. So positive thoughts, breathing is critical. Our breath, we think about Wim Hof training. If people haven't learned about Wim Hof, they can do a search on him and talk about breathing techniques and learning how your breath can save your life. Wim Hof taught us that you can go naked up into the highest elevation in the snow and you can live by controlling your breath. And so, learning that you can control it in hot, cold, in any climate. So breath is critical. So when we allow our breath to speed up, hyperventilating because we're stressed about life, that can eat us up. And so
we're not breathing. We stop breathing, or we're breathing from the neck, not even breathing properly.
Right. So too much, too little, it's about balance. And so learning how to breathe correctly. And if you don't know how to breathe, like I said, find a CHEK practitioner. We teach people how to breathe. So learning about Wim Hof methods, finding someone who does that. And so learning the essential of breath. And we're not taught that. In fact, most people don't know. And I can just tell people right now, if they're listening, put one hand on their chest and one hand on their belly and take a nice big inhale and feel what's happening to your hands. And most people will say, my belly goes in when I inhale. And that's an inverted breathing pattern. And that's a stress breathing. So they bring in and their belly goes in. But reality, you should be breathing out. So when you inhale, you should have your belly expand and then your chest. So it should be 2/3 belly and 1/3 chest.
In that order, too.
In that order. And so some people say, I don't feel any chest, or I only feel chest.
Yes.
And so those are all breathing disorders. And so getting your breathing dialed so that your body can go back to balance. So we have thinking, we have breathing, we have eating that we've talked about, we have drinking that we talked about. The next one is moving. And so the body is designed to move. We're not designed to sit all day long. You think about today's life, we sit on the couch, we drive our car to work, we sit at the office, we go home, we go to bed, and we don't move. So movement is critical as a human. And so we need to exercise and pump our body. You think about the heart, well, that pumps the blood. But if you look at the lymphatic system, what pumps the lymphatic system? There isn't a lymphatic pump in the body. The pumping of the lymphatic system happens through movement. So every time you move your arm, whoosh, whoosh, every time you move your leg, whoosh, whoosh, all that is necessary to keep all the fluids moving. And the last 6 foundation principle is sleeping. So sleeping is critical. And, in today's day, we've been taught to go, go, go. And, you know, it's almost a badge of honor to have less than 4 hours of sleep and keep on going. And look at me, I'm doing fine. I just need some coffee and I keep on moving. But the reality is, if you stop drinking the coffee, you'll realize how tired your body is.
Yeah.
And we'll find that most people need at least 7 hours at night. Some people need more.
Of quality too, not waking up 20 million times.
Right, minimum. So the average is 8. Some people can do well with 7, but children need 9, 10, sometimes up to 12 hours of sleep, which they're not getting to grow. And so sleep is so, not what I could say. People talk about it and say, oh, it's not necessary, but it's so necessary. It's so necessary. And I think that we're designed to keep on going. Why? Because if we're going, we're making more money and we're paying more taxes and we're spending more money and all that stuff. And that's what the world wants us to do. Don't sleep. We can't make any money on someone sleeping. Get up, go do something, So,
and yes, and rather than look to a over-the-counter pill or something for a sleep aid, maybe look at your life and consider what in my environment can be contributing to why I'm not sleeping well. Like you've been talking about, the electromagnetic rays are number one. You're getting blasted, and which disrupts your electricity in your very body. So there's a lot of information out there on to help you sleep naturally, the way we were designed to sleep for millions of years. So the more you can recreate that type of environment, which sure as hell doesn't involve any technology around your body when you're sleeping, is critical.
Correct.
And exposure to light, all that stuff. It's all that information is out there.
Absolutely. Like you said, like the Apple Watches and stuff, it'll tell you if you're sleeping well, but reality is you can't sleep as well as if you didn't have it on. I
was just going to say, that's part of the problem, that things
part
on
of the
your
problem,
wrist.
Yes. And, if you're learning if you're interested in Wi-Fi and radio technology and how it affects the body, Dr. Ibrahim Karim has great books out there on talking about it. His study is biogeometry, and you can go to biogeometry.com. And people can learn about the effects of nature and the effects of 5G and Wi-Fi and routers. And he suggests to move your head at least 12 inches from the wall at night, because there's so much electrical panels and circuitry in our walls. And if you can't move your bed further away, at least put a pillow between your head and the wall so it muffles and buffers all that stuff coming out of the wall. So in addition to that, turning off your television, not just turning it off, but unplugging it, because our TVs are always on. And so removing all those things that create buzz in our room, like lights. And so the alarm clock light, the VCR light, or DVD recorder light, whatever they have now, all these lights, those send subtle information to stimulate cortisol production. And so any light that hits your skin says, wake up. And so we look around our room and you see, oh yeah, there's 4 or 5 different lights. There's a TV, there's my Wi-Fi router, there's my phone. Oh, I live next to some, telephone poles, so you see all that stuff and you wonder, why am I not sleeping? Well, all of that is contributing to why you're not sleeping.